Bradley Thomas used to be a heavyweight boxer who made a living selling drugs, but after getting out of that life, he is barely scraping by as a mechanic. Today, he just towed a broken-down customer car back to the shop, and his boss is waiting for him at the door. The boss tells him to come to the office for a talk. Bradley knows what is coming, probably getting fired, so he just tells his boss to say what he needs to say.
It's a tough time for businesses right now.
Not really interested in the economy. Am I getting laid off?
I'm sorry.
After getting the answer, he grabs his stuff from the locker room and drives home, feeling like crap. When he gets home, he sees his wife Lauren sitting in the car, on the phone and clearly upset. He walks over and notices she looks totally panicked. His eyes catch a hickey on her neck, and he instantly knows what is up. He forces himself to stay calm, snatches her bag, and starts going through her phone. Lauren admits she cheated, then runs inside the house. Bradley is pissed, so he takes it out on her car, literally starts tearing it apart. Once he is inside, they have a raw, tense conversation. A few years back, they had a miscarriage, and it wrecked both of them. Ever since then, they've been drifting apart, and both started drinking too much. Lauren says she used to think Bradley was seeing someone else when he didn't come home at night. Bradley says he has never betrayed her and confesses that he secretly picked up a side gig. They both regret how they've been acting. Bradley suggests they start over and try for another baby. Lauren reminds him that she barely works. He just lost his job. So how are they supposed to survive? Bradley says he'll reach out to his old friend Gil and go back to what he knows, selling drugs. Lauren doesn't want him taking that risk. Bradley promises he'll just be making deliveries for a while and nothing will go wrong. A year and a half later, Bradley is making a delivery to a drug house. Thanks to his solid reputation and professional approach, he has built up a lot of connections. The deal goes down, and he gets into his brand new Ferrari and heads to his stash spot out in the middle of nowhere. He takes off the license plate, covers the car with a camo net, and calls his boss Gil to report the successful deal. He has got 2 more Ferraris parked in his garage, and he has moved into a mansion. He walks into the kitchen, sees Lauren cooking, and casually mentions he doesn't like her holding a knife. They re-crazy about each other now, sharing a passionate kiss. He is about to carry her into the bedroom when an urgent call from Gil interrupts them. They meet up, and Gil says he is waiting for some guys from a Mexican cartel. They about to become their new supplier. The guy's name is Elazar, and he brings 2 of his men, Roman and Pedro. They want Bradley to ride along with them on a delivery. Bradley refuses to take Roman because the guy looks like he is using drugs himself. Gil tells Bradley that Roman's been clean for 2 years and reminds Bradley that he has had his own issues with drinking. Gil also promises to give Bradley 3 months off after the baby is born. Bradley reluctantly agrees but demands that Roman follow his orders without question. Roman reluctantly says yes. That night, Bradley takes the 2 guys and heads out for the job. He notices Roman has a gun on him and tells him to put his hands behind his back. Roman refuses. Pedro reminds Roman about the rules they agreed to. Roman finally lets himself be searched, and they toss the weapon into the water. The 3 of them jump onto Gil's boat and head toward a buoy. Pedro dives down and pulls up a cargo box. Bradley gets a bad feeling and orders them to throw the bag back into the water. Roman refuses and throws a punch at him. They head toward their car, but suddenly police surround them. A shootout breaks out. Bradley thinks about running, but out of some deep sense of duty and patriotism, he shoots Pedro, basically helping the cops. Roman sprays bullets at him, so he jumps into the water to escape. Then he circles back, gets close to Roman, shoots him in the shoulder, and knocks him out. After that, he surrenders to the police. During questioning, the detective tells Bradley he was brave. After watching the body cam footage, the detective says that thanks to Bradley, no cops got killed, but that doesn't let him off the hook. Only by helping with the investigation can Bradley get a lighter sentence. The detective plays the patriotism card and brings up his unborn daughter to get him to cooperate, but Bradley refuses to rat out his boss, saying he'll probably get 4 or 5 years and he is willing to take the fall. When Lauren comes to visit, Bradley asks her not to come to the courtroom, not to visit him in prison, and definitely not to bring their daughter. He doesn't want to see his daughter for the first time behind bars. Lauren says she'll wait for him no matter how long it takes. The judge sentences Bradley to 7 years in prison. He is shocked by how unfair it is. He helped the cops and got 7 years. Dejected, he is sent to Franklin James Penitentiary, which the locals call the freezer. During intake, a guard tells him to take off his ring. When he closes the window a little too hard, the guard punishes him by sending him to the back of the line. After the search, he is taken to the cell block. An old inmate gives him the lowdown on the basic rules. A guard invites him to join the boxing club, but Bradley turns him down. During the night roll call, a guard yells at him for being late and reminds him to pay attention to the bell like he would in a boxing match. Bradley doesn't take him seriously. That same night, someone breaks into Bradley's house. Lauren wakes up and tries to grab a gun, but the intruder hits her with a tranquilizer and knocks her out. The next morning, the head guard tells Bradley that his wife's obstetrician contacted the prison, saying there are pregnancy complications and wants to meet with him. Bradley gets nervous when he gets to the visiting room. Instead of a doctor, he sees a stranger.
Remain calm. If you call any attention to us, I will leave.
The stranger says Bradley's betrayal cost Elazar $3 million, and now he has to pay it back. The guy shows him a photo of Lauren tied up and says they brought in an abortion doctor from Korea who can cut off the baby's limbs while leaving it alive. The stranger orders Bradley to go to Redleaf Maximum Security Prison, cell block 99, and kill an inmate named Christopher Bridge. Bradley says he can get into a max security prison on a drug charge. The stranger tells him to get creative, or they'll start sending him his child's limbs on the way back to his cell. Bradley immediately attacks the guard next to him. After a quick fight, Bradley easily takes him down and breaks his arm. Reinforcements arrive, and Bradley surrenders. He overhears them saying this fight will just get him transferred to an even lower security prison, so he starts messing with the escort team again. In the chaos, one guard somehow knocks out his own coworker. Bradley gets tasered and is sent to Redleaf Maximum Security Prison. Warden Tuggs greets him with a bunch of heavily armed guards and lays down the strict rules, ordering them to throw Bradley's belongings, including his wedding ring, on the ground. Warden Tuggs brags that his men are way tougher than the hard asses at the freezer and suggests Bradley test that theory if he wants. He gets stripped, searched, and thrown into the filthiest cell imaginable. The toilet is clogged, the stench is unbearable, and he has to cover his nose and mouth with his shirt just to sleep. Warden Tuggs says if he behaves, they'll move him in 2 weeks. He barely falls asleep before they call him out for yard time. Another inmate tells him that cell block 99 is where they put the most brutal psychos and scumbags. Bradley decides to act immediately. He walks up to a group of Mexican guys and starts deliberately provoking them. He doesn't even use a weapon, just easily drops them one by one. A guard in a tower opens fire with a rifle, stopping the fight. Guards storm the yard, and Bradley fights back hard, breaking one guy's arm until a revolver is pressed against his head. Then he finally calms down. They put a hood over his head and take him to cell block 99, a pitch-black basement. A powerlifting belt connected to a taser is strapped onto him. Warden Tuggs demonstrates the shock, and Bradley drops to his knees instantly. Every point deducted equals 1 shock. He got 25 points taken away for the fight, which means he can be zapped anytime. He is thrown into a cell covered in broken glass, then shocked again, and falls to the ground. He calls out to Christopher Bridge through a small window, but the guy in the next cell says nobody by that name is there. The conversation is cut off by another shock. Guards drag him into the hallway and torture him with the taser. They say his friends want to see him. At the end of the hallway is a large open cell, and Elazar and his men are waiting inside. Turns out Elazar got locked up too, and he blames Bradley for both the money he lost and the death of his brother-in-law Pedro. The guard hands the taser remote to Elazar and tells them not to kill Bradley today. The thugs beat him with fists and feet, plus more tasings. Elazar shows him a photo of Lauren and threatens that if Bradley lays a finger on them, the surgeon will go to work. Then they knock Bradley out and drag him back to his cell. When he wakes up, Bradley tears off the soles of his shoes and stuffs them between the taser electrodes in his body. The guards come to take him out again, and he fakes being in pain. When they let their guard down, he grabs a gun and attacks, demanding the keys to his leg shackles. In the chaos, he accidentally kills one guard. He locks the other guard inside a cell. In Elazar's cell, one of his enforcers is bouncing around in front of a punching bag. Bradley walks in. The enforcer comes at him for a one-on-one fight and gets knocked out cold. Bradley grinds his face into the floor. 2 other thugs try to jump in, and while Bradley is dealing with them, Elazar calls his partners and says if he doesn't call back in 10 minutes, they'll operate on Bradley's wife. Bradley takes down the last guy, then stomps on their heads like they re-empty beer cans. Elazar keeps threatening him, but Bradley doesn't flinch. He then breaks Elazar's leg and forces him to order the surgeon to stop. Eleazar refuses. Bradley drags him toward a freak cell, saying he let those guys have their way with him. The Mexican finally breaks down and orders his men to release Lauren and take her to Gil. Bradley drags Eleazar into the cell where the guard is locked up and tells him to stay there. Warden Tuggs shows up with his men. Bradley says if they storm in, he kill both hostages. All he needs is to make one phone call. Then he surrender. 1 minute after the call, he turn himself in. Meanwhile, Eleazar's men and the surgeon take Lauren to Gil's house. While they backing up the car, Gil pulls out a hidden rifle and shoots the thugs dead. Lauren grabs the gun and kills the surgeon as he tries to run. Gil calls Bradley and tells him his family is safe. Lauren gets on the phone and tells him to say a few words to his daughter. He tells her to grow up smart and healthy. Lauren says she just felt the baby kick. Bradley cries. Lauren asks him when he be able to come see her. They say goodbye, and she smashes the phone. Bradley turns to Warden Tuggs and reminds him he has got 1 minute left. Then he walks into the cell, shoves Eleazar's head into the toilet, and stomps down. 1 minute later, the guards rush in. A guard with a cigarette in his mouth orders Bradley to put his hands behind his head and turn around. Then shoots him dead. Bradley Thomas is gone.